Okay, students, good morning, all of you. Our next topic discussion on photosynthesis. See, the basic points of the photosynthesis, everybody knows that. So apart from that, some deep points which are related to PUC level, those concepts we will discuss in this class. So first of all, everybody knows that photosynthesis is a process by which green plants use sunlight to make food from simple molecules. Those simple molecules like carbon dioxide and water. From the carbon dioxide and water, they will prepare food material. That phenomenon is called photosynthesis. Generally, the equation, so the overall equation representing the photosynthesis, that is 6CO2. 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives rise C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. Here light chlorophyll, which are located in chloroplast. Okay, see here, see green plants. So green plants use carbon dioxide and water. These are all simple molecules. This is carbon dioxide and water. Using carbon dioxide and water. So in the chloroplast, grana contains a pigment that is called chlorophyll pigment. The chlorophyll pigment absorbs light. That's why it is called light activated chlorophyll. So when the light absorbed by the chlorophyll is activated. The chlorophyll is activated and forms glucose, carbohydrates, C6H12O6, carbon dioxide, carbohydrates, oxygen and water vapor. So this oxygen is a gas which escapes into the environment. So this is stored in various parts of the plant. It is stored in various parts of the plant. Oxygen, it is a living gas, water vapor. So these are all the byproducts formed from the photosynthesis. Okay. Next, the equation can be summarized as the raw materials are required. So whatever may be the raw materials are required for the photosynthesis, those raw materials are carbon dioxide and water. So the carbon dioxide and water, these are the raw materials. So carbon dioxide is absorbed from the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is absorbed from the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide is absorbed from the air and water from the soil. Okay, water, see, generally, this is the soil. In the soil, so the taproot system. It is generally taproot system. These are root hairs. It is shoot, apical shoot. Okay, so the raw materials are carbon dioxide. So these are all the leaf parts, leafy area. This is leafy area. Okay, that's it. So the carbon dioxide and water from the atmosphere, carbon dioxide is absorbed by the leaves. So water absorbed from the root system. Okay, that's it. Water from the soil. Soil means what in the soil? So root hairs, primary root, secondary roots, and the tertiary roots. These are all the structures are absorbed water. The energy needed for chemical reactions. So some amount of energy is needed for chemical reaction. So whatever maybe the reactions takes place in the leaves, for those reactions, some amount of energy is needed. That energy is obtained by the atmospheric sunlight. See, chemical reaction is derived from light. So that the light is absorbed by the chlorophyll. So the photosynthesis reactions are chemical reactions only. So for those chemical reactions, energy is derived from the atmospheric light. So that energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll. So as a result of that, simple sugars like glucose, here see, glucose are the products. So glucose, C6H12O6 is the product. Oxygen is a byproduct, which is a gas. Oxygen is a byproduct, which is a gas, which is entered into the atmosphere. Chloroplast contain green pigments. Chloroplast contains a green pigment. Okay, so chloroplast, here you, whether you remembered or not, I don't know, in our lower classes, you were studying. Today in this class, I will say about chloroplast, more information. Here a little information I will say. See here, the chloroplast, see chloroplast in green leaves. There are number of chloroplasts are located. It is like this way. Chloroplast is double membrane, outer membrane and inner membrane. These two membranes are made up of by lipids. Lipids made up of by lipids. So in the chloroplast, it is called grana. It is called grana. This is called grana. Grana or granum thylakoid. In this grana thylakoid, there is a membrane. This membrane also is made up of by lipids. In this lipid membrane, chlorophyll pigment, not only chlorophyll pigment, along with chlorophyll pigment, other pigments also located. Other pigments also located. Other pigments also located. So those pigments absorb solar energy and convert them into chemical energy. Chloroplast contains green pigment that is called chlorophyll. So this is the chloroplast. Chloroplast. The chloroplast contains chlorophyll pigment. Chlorophyll pigment. The chlorophyll pigment can trap solar energy. Can trap light energy, nothing but solar energy, and convert them into chemical energy. Chemical energy. This is called assimilatory power. This is called that is the explanation. Next. What do we know about photosynthesis? Generally, here photosynthesis requires chlorophyll pigment. Generally, photosynthesis requires chlorophyll pigment. Chlorophyll pigment. In the chlorophyll pigments, light, water, and carbon dioxide. These are all the things are required for photosynthesis. So chloroplasts are the sites of photosynthesis. Already I have drawn. It is the chloroplast. This is the chloroplast. This the chloroplast is the site. This is the chloroplast. In the chloroplast, granum. This is called granum. This is called granum. Okay. So in this region, it is called stroma. Stroma. It is called grana. So in the stroma and grana, in both the places, exactly photosynthesis takes place. Okay. So you might have studied in lower classes, but exact location of photosynthesis you might have not studied. But the exact photosynthesis takes place in the stroma and grana. Grana and stroma, exact photosynthesis takes place. So chloroplasts are the sites of photosynthesis. So by some simple experiments, it can be proved that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis and carbon dioxide is required for photosynthesis. See, in your third class, fourth class, fifth class, these are simple experiments you might have studied. Simple experiment. Oxygen is essential for photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis. So chlorophyll is essential for photosynthesis. Light is essential for photosynthesis. These are simple experiments in lower classes you studied. Though you studied those simple experiments in your lower classes, again you will study in first PUC. Those experiments you will study in future. Okay, so ultimately here for the photosynthesis, there are two factors are extremely important. Two factors are important. So those are, one is external factors. External factors, example, sunlight. Sunlight, it is external factor, sunlight. Carbon dioxide, these are called external factors. Next, internal factors. Second one is internal factors. Internal factors. Internal factors, those are C, water, chloroplast, chlorophyll, water, chloroplast, chlorophyll, enzymes, etc. These are all the factors are internal factors. When these are all the factors are sufficiently available, should not be more, should not get less. When all these factors are sufficiently available, then only photosynthesis is efficiently takes place. If any factor, either external factor or internal factor, either maybe decrease or increase, that conditions leads to affect the photosynthesis. The rate of photosynthesis would be affected. Okay, that's all. So among these, first, let us see how chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. It can be proved by doing a simple experiment on 2 leaves. See, take a variegated leaf. Variegated means what? Croton leaf. Variegated leaf or a leaf that is partially covered with a black paper. See, some plant leaves. So generally, in some plants, the leaf surface area will be like this way. The leaf surface this is leaf surface area. This is leaf surface area. In some of the plants, so at one particular place, white color. At some places, it appears to be a white color. Remaining part appears to be a green color. Such type of leaves are called variegated leaves. Okay, green and white. So where the leaf appears to be white, that is non-chlorophyll. Non-chlorophyll area. Where the leaf seems to be a green, that is chlorophyll. Chlorophyllous area. Non-chlorophyllous area, chlorophyllous area. So this is called variegated leaf. Or a leaf that is partially covered with a black paper and one that is exposed to light. That only. So here, if variegated leaf is not available, here you cover with a black paper. This part should not be exposed to sunlight. Remaining part should be exposed to sunlight. Such type of leaf you take. On testing these leaves for starch. So like this way, from the plant, from the tree only, or else from the plant only, you make it this arrangement. After that, this leaf you test for starch. On testing these leaves for starch, it becomes clear that photosynthesis occurs only in the green parts of the leaves. That is, the ones that contain chlorophyll. See, after some time, you cut this leaf from the plant and observe it for starch solution, starch preparation, whether photosynthesis occurred or not. So the part of the plant, the part of the leaf which is exposed to the sunlight, the part of the leaf which is exposed to the sunlight, that part looks green in color. The part which is not exposed to the sunrise, that part does not turn to green in color. It does not turn green color. It does not show any color. Okay. So this part turned to be a blue color. When iodine drops are placed on this part turned to be a blue color. This part does not turn to be blue color. It does not turn any color. Okay. because here the starch was not prepared. The starch was absent. That's why here, so when we use a few drops of iodine, here it does not turn to blue color. Here, due to the presence of starch, the starch is reacted with iodine drops, and turn to be blue color. So this indicates that chlorophyll. In this part, chlorophyll is effectually absorbed sunlight. This part is unable to absorb the sunlight because this part is covered, or else chlorophyll is absent. So from this experiment, it is clear that chlorophyll is necessary for photosynthesis. So these kind of experiments you might have studied in lower classes, even though these topics you have to study in PUC level. On these topics, important NEET, CET questions. Definitely 8 marks NEET questions. 2 to 3 marks CET exam you will get. That's why this topic I have chosen. Next, carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide also required for photosynthesis. It can be proved by another experiment that is called half-leaf experiment. Half-leaf experiment. So this half-leaf experiment here we will see. See here. Like this way, well-watered potted plant take it. Well-watered potted plant. That means what? Just before doing experiment, here we have to supply sufficient amount of water. Well-watered potted plant you take it. So bring from the sun rays and bring it into the room. Bring to the biology lab. You keep it in biology lab. After that, take one glass beaker. Take one glass beaker, like this way, one glass beaker, you take it, like this way, glass beaker nut, or one side opened, one glass bottle you take like this way. Here it should be opened. So keep some amount of potassium hydroxide solution. So due to keeping some amount of potassium hydroxide solution, it will absorb carbon dioxide present in the beaker, in this glass. Okay, so whatever may be the carbon dioxide is present, that would be absorbed by the potassium hydroxide. Okay, after that, this is you bring to here, like this way you bring, and this leaf you fix into this beaker like this way. Okay, so here, like this way, you fix it into this glass beaker. This is called potassium hydroxide solution. So when you will fix this half leaf into this beaker, here in between these leaves, there is a gap will be there. So through this gap, there is a chances to enter carbon dioxide. So that here you apply paste or grease or any cream you apply here to prevent the carbon dioxide entered into the beaker. However, inside of the beaker, carbon dioxide is absent. Carbon dioxide is absent. So when you will fix here, like this way, when you will fix here, cream or any paste, so that will cover minute holes. After fixing this setup, this entire experiment, keep it in sunlight for about 4 to 5 hours. 4 to 5 hours. After 4 to 5 hours, you remove this leaf and detach this leaf from the beaker, glass beaker, and observe this leaf for photosynthesis. What happens after 4 to 5 hours? So here, half leaf was inside the beaker. Remaining half leaf is exposed to sunlight. Remaining half leaf was exposed, not exposed to the sun rays. It is located in the beaker. The part of the leaf which is exposed to the sunlight, it can be performed photosynthesis and prepared starch. The part of the leaf which was located inside the beaker, it is not absorb carbon dioxide from the environment. However, water is circulating through inside of the plant. So chloroplast is there inside of the leaf. Chlorophyll is there inside of the leaf. However, sunlight is falling on this beaker. But this part of the leaf which is located inside the beaker, that part of the leaf unable to absorb carbon dioxide. See, we know very well 6CO2 plus 12H2O gives rise C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. This is okay. So carbon dioxide and water. Okay, 6CO2, carbon dioxide utilized, water utilized, prepared this. But this part is not exposed to the sun rays. This part is not exposed to the sun rays. That's why it is unable to receive carbon dioxide. That's why it is not received, cannot prepare starch. So this part is exposed to the sun rays. So it is effectively received external factors and internal factors efficiently. External and internal factors are received efficiently. That's why this part is prepared photosynthesis. How we would know that? Here we have to do a starch test. Here we have to perform a starch test. What is that test? Starch test. So starch test. So use few drops of iodine on the part which is exposed to the sun rays. The part which is exposed to the sun rays. To that part, use a few drops of iodine on this place. Few drops of iodine if you place, this green part gradually turns to be blue. This indicates that in this region, it performed photosynthesis. That's why it contains glucose is located. So this part does not turn any color. Green part does not turn to any color. That's why this indicates that in this place, photosynthesis does not take place. This experiment is called half leaf experiment. This experiment is discovered by the scientists. Moseley, the scientist who is Moseley, discovered this experiment. That's why this is called half leaf experiment, because half leaf was inside the beaker, remaining half leaf was outside the beaker. That's why it is called half leaf or mostly half leaf experiments. So from this experiment, it is clear that carbon dioxide is essential for photosynthesis. See, whatever the points now I said, those points here it will be there. See, carbon dioxide is required for photosynthesis. It can be proved by another experiment that is called half leaf experiment, where a part of leaf is enclosed in a test tube containing some potassium hydroxide soaked cotton. So in that potassium hydroxide, cotton also they will fix. That cotton is completely absorbs carbon dioxide, while the other half leaf exposed to air. The setup then placed into the light for some time. On testing for starch later in the two halves of the leaf, it is found that exposed part of the leaf gives a positive test for starch. The part of the leaf which is located outside, that will be given starch. It performed photosynthesis. While the portion that was in the tube, the test gives negative. This shows that carbon dioxide is required for photosynthesis. The part of the leaf which is located inside the tube, inside the beaker, it does not receive carbon dioxide. Except carbon dioxide, remaining all is available. But carbon dioxide also absolutely necessary. The carbon dioxide is absolutely necessary to perform photosynthesis. Therefore, the part of the leaf which is located inside the tube, that could not perform photosynthesis. So that this experiment shows that carbon dioxide is absolutely required for photosynthesis. Okay, that's all. Next here, chloroplast. See, this is the chloroplast diagram. So, chloroplast here, see, inside the chloroplast, photosynthesis takes place, I said. These are called grana, thylakoids. Grana or thylakoids. So, now we will see a complete information about chloroplast. In all green plants, there are special membrane bound organelle called chloroplast. So almost all green plants, there are special membrane. There are special membrane bound. So see, already shown. It is outer membrane. It is inner membrane. It is outer membrane. It is inner membrane. Outer membrane and inner membrane both are made up of by lipids. So it is made up of by lipids. So in all the green plants there are special membrane. It is a membrane. Bound means what? These two membranes are held together. Bound organelle, that is called chloroplast. So where is the location of chloroplast? Chloroplast occurs mainly in the mesophyll cells of leaf. This is the chloroplast. This occurs in the leaf. In mesophyll cells. What are mesophyll cells? See, when you will cut the leaf surface transversely. So in that leaf, the chloroplast is located like this way. When you will cut the leaf transversely, horizontally, then the leaf surface appears like this way. So in between these two, it is upper epidermis, it is lower epidermis. It is called upper epidermis, it is called lower epidermis. In between these two, there is a space. This space is called mesophyll tissue. Here, palisade parenchyma. This is palisade parenchyma. Middle vascular bundles. Here, sponge parenchyma, like this way. So this gap in between upper and lower epidermis, in between the upper and lower epidermis, there is a gap. This gap is called mesophyll tissue. In this mesophyll tissue, it is called palisade parenchyma, spongy parenchyma. Here, these dots are called chloroplasts. These are all the dots. Whatever may be the dots are there. These are all the dots. These are all the dots. These dots are called chloroplasts. These the dots. These are called, whatever maybe the dots are there. These are all the dots are called chloroplasts. So this one dot structure, this is printed three-dimensional picture diagram. Okay. So chloroplast occurs mainly in the mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells means what? In between upper and lower epidermis, there is a tissue. The tissue is called mesophyll tissue. Individually, these are called mesophyll cells. These are all the cells are collectively called mesophyll tissue. In the mesophyll tissue, number of chloroplasts will be there. So these are dots. This is one dot. It is one chloroplast. This one dot is so shape. So typical chloroplast, a specific chloroplast is a disc or lens-shaped structure. So this is generally chloroplast is maybe disc-shaped structure or lens-shaped structure. So it varies in different species. Microscopic structure of the chloroplast shows mainly three important parts. Actually, chloroplast is a minute microscopic structure. Through electron microscope only we can be seen all the parts which are located inside the chloroplast. So that is membranes, stroma, and thylakoids. These three structures, these three parts are clearly visible inside of the chloroplast when we will see through an electron microscope. Okay, that's it. See here, membranes, stroma, and thylakoid. Membranes, these are called membranes. These are called membranes. This is called stroma. Inside, whatever may be these are called sac-like structures. These are located one above the other, one above the other, one above the other. These are located one above the other. These are called grana or thylakoid. Grana or thylakoids. Okay, so this is the stroma, a colorless viscous. Viscous means what? Colorless. Thick fluid. This is called stroma. See, chloroplast is covered by two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. These two membranes are made up of by lipids and proteins. See, two membranes, outer membrane, it is inner membrane, this is outer membrane. These two membranes are made up of by lipids and proteins. Lipids and proteins. Stroma. So this is the outer membrane. Next is stroma. The inner membrane encloses a colorless and viscous fluid. Colorless and viscous fluid, thick fluid. That area is called stroma. Stroma is also called matrix. This is stroma. Stroma is also called matrix. Stroma is also called matrix. The stroma of the chloroplast. This is the stroma. This is stroma. Stroma part of chloroplast contains enzymes. Here, in this stroma part, various kinds of enzymes are located. Those enzymes are absolutely essential for photosynthesis. What are those enzymes? You will get all those enzymes names in higher studies. So the stroma of the chloroplast contains enzymes which are required for the synthesis of carbohydrates and proteins. That's all I have said. For the synthesis of glucose, C6H12O6 and proteins. For the preparation of these two, those enzymes are required. It also contains a small double-stranded circular DNA in the stroma. Double-stranded circular DNA also is located. Double-stranded circular DNA. See here, What is that double-stranded structural DNA? We'll see. Double-stranded structural DNA is located. Double-stranded circular DNA. See like this way. Double-stranded circular DNA. Like this way. Double-stranded DNA in the stroma. Like this way. Double-stranded circular DNA is located. Double-stranded circular DNA molecule. And also ribosomes. So ribosomes. These are called ribosomes. Okay. So where is the DNA and the ribosomes are there? Automatically protein synthesis takes place. Protein synthesis takes place. So how this DNA gives rise to RNA? This is called RNA. So this RNA gives proteins. Okay, DNA gives RNA. RNA gives proteins. Okay, so wherever DNA is there is parallelly ribosomes will be there, RNA will be there. Then ultimately photosynthesis takes place. Next, thylakoids. So see here, thylakoids. These are flattened bag or sac-like structures present in the stroma. So in this stroma region, flat or bag-like structures. Flat or bag-like structures. See, flat or bag-like structures. 1, 2, 3. Like this way. Many will be there. Flat or bag-like structures in the stroma. These are called thylakoids. 1, 2, 3 thylakoids. 1, 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3. Like this way. These are called thylakoids. These are placed one above the other. So one above 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One above the other. These are also called grana or thylakoids. These are also called grana or thylakoids. Grana or thylakoids. See, grana or granum thylakoids. Granum or grana thylakoids. Okay, that's it. So these thylakoids are connected by strong